Welcome back to part 2 of our show with Marty McCambridge. We'll continue now. Welcome back to Creativity Inside and Out with Marty McCambridge. Now we're going to continue talking about your career and your life and your music and your acting, and she does everything, I'm telling you. It's great.
I try.
Yeah. So let's talk about, we left talking about voiceover and In the House of Paper Flowers.
Yeah, In the House of Paper Flowers is a short film, short animated film a friend of mine wrote. I'm in a one more thing to add to the list. I'm in a writers group. And I've been in for like 10 years now. And she wrote this piece and we read it in the writers group and everybody said, oh, this is, you got to do something with this, it's beautiful. And so she got together with some animators and some musicians and put together this beautiful piece called In the House of Paper Flowers. It's a true story of sad event in her life where her cat was taken by a coyote. It sounds like, you know, gruesome, but it's about nature and, you know, this is part of life, the circle of life kind of thing. And anyway, and so she came to me and said, I want you to narrate it, which I was thrilled, you know, that's what I want to do. So I did the narration for it, and you can listen to the trailer and you can hear me. And we went to several film festivals. It won, I've lost count, I think 25 awards so far. You know, best picture, best sound, best animation, best music.
Fantastic.
All these things. And the most unusual one, because I went to all these film festivals and I never heard it, so I never expected it, was I got best narration.
Oh.
Yeah.
What
so
an honor.
I was just over the moon about it. You know, I got an award, I got a little trophy, I got, you know. So that really validated what I've been dreaming about, that I really want to do more narration and voiceover work.
And we can watch the trailer for that, right?
Yes.
Let's do that. Let's watch that trailer now.
Once upon a time, in a small house covered with papery flowers, there lived a woman with white hair, 2 cats, and a tiny wolf songstress. One of the cats bore the mark of a bat on his forehead. He was an empath of the first order. The other had a white mustache and went by many names, but the one the woman first uttered in her heart was Baby.
That is so beautiful. It really is.
It is. I love the colors and the story, and it's just really touching.
Yeah.
And we've gone several places where people have just come to us afterward and said that meant so much to them.
Oh,
that
nice.
story. So, yeah.
And you've done other voiceover work as well, right?
Not as much as I'd like. I did.
Okay.
I did reading for the deaf and reading for the deaf. No, reading for the blind. That would be interesting.
That wouldn't work real well.
No. Reading for the blind. Yes, I did that for several. You know, read several, but that was textbooks, which is like.
Yeah. That is such a nice thing, because you do that volunteer, right? You've done that volunteer.
Right.
Yeah, that is such a nice and generous thing to do, you know?
Well, I enjoy doing it, and I think it was good practice too. You know, I learned, because it's a small operation. You know, I'd go out to a little booth in the valley, and I was on my own. I was doing my own editing. You know, I'd be
really?
like, oh, that was bad. Go back.
Again, a one-woman show, right? Which we'll talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was really interesting to do, learning how to work all the.
Oh, right, yeah.
Technical stuff.
Right. Was that on reel-to-reel at the time, or was that digital?
No, it's digital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess reel-to-reel would be going back much farther than that, wouldn't it?
No. It wasn't that long ago.
I'm so dating myself.
Reel to reel?
I still have some at home,
I
some
do
tapes, yeah, that I need to transfer. Yeah. I thought I used to have a reel-to-reel tape machine.
I did too.
Yeah.
And I thought I had all my tapes transferred, digitized though, put into the computer. And then, of course, I found one more box. And I was wondering where those student projects were from college, you know. And they showed up. I want to talk about Shirley Valentine. I know we're jumping around all over the place, but that's okay.
Marty jumps around in her life. She doesn't jump anymore, but Shirley Valentine is just a really wonderful piece. It's a one-woman play. If you've seen the movie is, all the characters are there, so it's not a one-woman show. But the play is a one-woman show. And I loved it, you know, and
I've got to watch it now that we've been talking
yeah,
about
you
it.
do. Anybody, if you haven't seen it, it's just really heartwarming. And so in my scene study class with Leo Rossi that I told you about earlier, I would come in every week with a new scene. I'd do, you know, a whole scene, several pages, and everybody in the class just loved it. And it got to the point where Leo would say, "Do we have any Shirley today?"
Oh,
You know,
funny.
and I would get up and do another chunk of Shirley. So I was memorizing it, you know, little by little, just as an exercise. And here at ELATE, we were doing a show called Figments, which was just hysterically funny. It was the best show, and people just loved it. And so we all said, let's do this some more. Let's take it on the road. Let's rent a little theater and do it for a summer. It's just so good. This show is so good. And
Shirley Valentine or Figment?
Figments.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, well, yeah, we could do that. We could take it. There's lots of little theaters here in North Hollywood. So I found a little theater up there called Two Roads. And I went and I said, we'd like to put on this show. And he said, sure, you can rent the theater anytime. So leave your deposit and it's yours. And so I did, and came back and said, okay, let's do this. And he said, well, you know, I just took a poll and it seems like not everybody's on board after all.
Oh, man.
So I went back immediately.
After they had said they wanted
Oh,
to.
yeah. So I went back immediately and said, well, I guess we can't do it. So could I get my deposit back? He said, nope. The theater's yours for the summer. I don't care if you have garden parties. Just do whatever you want.
Gosh.
So we were kind of stuck. So I kind of went, well, I have been working on this Shirley Valentine, and I think I could probably learn the rest of it in a short time, and maybe that would be fun. And there you go. So I did Shirley Valentine for a summer, one
For
woman.
the entire summer.
Well, it was like 6 weeks, yeah.
That's a while.
Yeah, yeah. And my brother-in-law built the set, and it was a fantastic set. It was rotating sets. So it was my kitchen on one side and the Greek island on the other. It was so fun. It's really
What
fabulous.
a contrast.
Well, because she goes to the Greek island.
Okay.
And I did that, and we actually had audiences all the time. It was.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did you have a house?
We did. We had lots of audiences.
Right.
That's a theater term, by the way. How many are in the house?
Yes, yes. Is it worth it? Is it worth? We didn't make any money, but I think we almost broke even. So
You got your deposit back.
yeah,
And had a
yeah.
good time doing
and had
it.
a fabulous time.
Oh, you should bring that back if you could.
Well,
Yeah.
I couldn't do it here.
Because,
Well, language.
oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
Some of the content is a little racy, and
Oh, uh-huh.
taking it out would just destroy it. So
Right.
there's things. That's one thing we maybe didn't mention, that ELATE, like Glendale Theater and some other theaters around, have made it a policy to never have certain words, you know, and content has to be approved, and
Right.
which, you know, sometimes puts a hamper on things, but
ELATE also does a thing, although they've broken the rule, I think, once or twice, where they never repeat a show, right?
right, they have not. but they've talked about it. Yeah,
They did repeat, though, love letters.
they did repeat love letters,
Which you did.
which I
which
did
you were
both
in.
times.
Right.
Yes, but generally speaking, yeah, they try not to repeat,
Which makes it more challenging to find
to find new stuff.
new plays, new material to do.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, so Shirley Valentine is still in my head.
Yeah, now I have to watch it.
You do.
And Mitch, our cameraman and producer, was saying that his wife loves it.
It's a great show.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about your band now, jumping around.
Let's go to
No, it
Madhatters.
kind of leads to the next one. Because when all this is said and done, I go back to my band.
Which, how long have you been in the band?
This band I've been in for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
A lot of things happened after the broken leg.
Yeah, which, was that 10 years ago?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you want to talk about that now, or if you want to do that before we talk about.
It made a big dent in my life. So-
Let's talk about it now, and your bone.
because that's, yeah, I'm not doing that scene, so.
Right.
Yeah, I had 10 years ago, well, February it'll be 11.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Guy, it doesn't seem like that long ago, but time is going by faster.
2013. Yeah.
Yeah.
I broke my femur, and I didn't just break it, I shattered it. So I was not walking for a while, and I was pretty depressed.
A long while.
Well, I was in a wheelchair for a year, about
That's
a year.
long while.
But yeah, but then I could walk, but
Right. Were you in physical therapy
yeah,
all that time to get back up on your feet?
yeah.
Right.
That was one of the scenes from my play where my big sister comes to see me when the therapist is there, and she's getting me up for the first time, up onto the walker. And my sister's watching it, and I'm like, I can do this, and I'm up, and she's like, my baby sister is walking.
That's perfect.
I know. It was pretty funny because, she watched me walk when I was this big, and now she's...
Yeah, when you were a baby, yeah.
So it was pretty traumatic. Anyway, so during that time, I couldn't do a lot of things that I normally would do. And one of them is, music. And this band was playing at my church. They were starting what they called was a celebration of life band. They wanted to play at funerals.
At funerals?
Yeah, because they wanted to do Dixieland. And so,
At funerals.
when the saints go marching in.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Oh, we did. We played several.
As I think about that,
That's what they do in New Orleans.
is it?
Oh, yeah. They march down the street playing music, and the casket follows.
Funerals don't have to be so.
No, it's a celebration of
Dismal
life.
and morbid, right?
No. We made them fun.
How many have you done? A lot of funerals?
The band?
No, we did several in the beginning. Now we do more other, we play at different facilities and
Right.
events in the valley. And when I say the valley, I mean the Conejo Valley.
Okay.
In California, by
Thousand
the way.
Oaks, yeah.
Yeah, Thousand Oaks, yeah.
But we've played at a lot of places there. And now it's more of a jazz band. It's still technically Dixieland, but a lot of new standards and,
Like other decades are
yeah.
included.
Yeah.
And we have a video we can watch, right? You have one?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
And that song is,
St. James Infirmary.
and you sing.
I do.
Do you play on this one too?
Oh, yeah.
Cool, cool. Let's watch that now.
I went down to see Joe McKinney at the bar. He stood with eyes so red. He turned to the crowd around. This is what he said. I went down to say
They are fun, aren't they?
Oh, they're just so fun. That was a big event. We did a fundraiser, and the speakeasy. We made the reception room into a speakeasy.
Oh, how cool is
It was
that?
very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you do to make it into a speakeasy?
Oh, well, they just, one of the band members, very handy, and he just put things around that were speakeasy-ish. She put up a bar, and
Speakeasy-ish?
decorated it like, and we sold things for like a nickel, things like that.
How fun.
Yeah.
How fun. I remember one time, and this only goes back to, now I'm really going to date myself. It goes back to the 1960s when I was little. And there's a restaurant in Rancho Cucamonga called the Sycamore Inn. It's an old house that's gorgeous, right? And it's this incredible restaurant. But my family only went there for special occasions, graduations, birthdays, things like that, right? And one time, I remember we were leaving after eating there, and I said to my mom, I said, so why do we only, I must have been like 6, 7 years old, and I said, why do we only come here for special occasions? And she said, honey, they charge $7 a dinner here.
We ain't paying more than that.
That's right. And I went there a couple years ago. My friend and I went there for her birthday after many years of not going there. And it's not $7 anymore. But at that time, that was an expensive dinner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, you're saying things for 50 cents.
Yeah.
Made me think of that. Yeah. Now let's talk about The Nordic Princess Breaks the Ice.
The Nordic Princess Breaks the Ice came out of my writers group. I went to one of the people in my writers group does a class on writing your story. She really believes everybody has a story. And
That's a good point.
We need to write them down and commemorate what you've done on this earth.
And that's one of the reasons I love doing this show.
Yeah.
Because I get to hear people's stories.
Yeah.
And
it's like,
I find out things I don't know.
they go on and on.
Yeah.
And yeah. She said when in history, so many people have passed on and their story dies with them. And that's so sad. So she really is, very passionate about this. So I went and took her class, and I started writing some of the stories from my life about having osteogenesis imperfecta, which is some people, you see a movie and they'll call it brittle bone disease.
Okay, what's the name again? It's that's quite the name.
Osteogenesis, osteobone, genesis, beginning, imperfecta. Imperfect.
Okay.
Very simple, really. Anyway.
Break it down.
So I have that, and I've had many broken bones over my life. I think I talked earlier about when I was a child and I was in the hospital in traction. So I wrote these stories, individual stories, as we talked about them, and little by little I would read them out loud in class, and people in the class said, Marty, this is a show. You got to do this. And I was like, no, what are you talking about? This is crazy. This is silly stories about me breaking my leg. I mean, how is that a show? And so we worked on it, and I decided it was a show. And ELATE was kind enough to allow me to use the stage. And we built an interesting set, and I put on Nordic Princess Breaks the Ice.
And you incorporated
Songs.
into it.
Yeah.
And original songs, or?
Couple of them were original. Most of them were just snippets of other songs. Like when I talked about Snow White, I sang the Snow White thing. But you have to be very careful, because we live in Disney Town, so.
This is true. They're right around the corner from here.
Yes.
The studio, the
So
Disney
I-
studios.
Yeah, I did, and I had an accompanist on the stage, and he played music for me. And
And you incorporated also so much more about your life, you know.
Yeah, I talked about living in Idaho, and but mostly the different breaks, because they kind of tell the story as I go, you know.
And they directed your life.
And they did direct my life. There were things that, you know, happened because of that, and things that didn't happen because of that. You know, like I talked about getting apart, you know, by doing Shirley Valentine. Well, that's the part I didn't get to do because I was in the hospital with a broken leg.
Oh, shoot.
So I went through all that and got the part.
You got the part.
And then I couldn't do it.
Oh, that's discouraging.
Yes.
Disheartening. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry.
And I haven't really done, I've done some theater since then, but certainly not any big musicals.
Right, right. A little bit more about your disease. When did you know, or when did your parents know?
Oh, they knew from the beginning. My dad had it.
It's inherited.
It's inherited. It's genetic. If you have the disease, it's 50-50 that your child will have it.
That's really high odds.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you don't have it, there's no passing it on. There are genetic mutations, but those are a slightly different type of the disease.
Right.
And the disease means that your bones are just very easily broken.
Right. It has to do with your body knowing what to do with the collagen and the building blocks of your body. And so even, you know, people would say, well, just drink more milk.
Sorry, that's silly. That's silly.
It doesn't work that way, you know.
Yeah.
Because your body doesn't know what to do with it. So it just sloughs it off, and then your bones are very, very fragile. Mine are, you know, we're in the middle. My sister and I and my father had a type, and my grandmother, and it goes back and back and back,
Really?
had one of the more mild types. So ours are not as bad. There are people who, you know, have to be in a wheelchair their whole lives, and they're usually they're little people, you know. They don't grow. I'm not like I'm so tall. But yeah, generally speaking, they are smaller stature and the bigger head. I do have the big head.
I've never noticed that about you. Really?
Well, it's not like I have a big head because I think I'm so special.
Because of that confidence thing.
But I do have to wear a size large hat. Anyway, so yeah, it mostly, that's how it affects people, is that the bones are very fragile.
Right.
But it affects everything, you know, because it's cholesterol and all those things that are tied together with
Sure. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know what I've thought about you, and if you don't want to talk about this, tell me. But because you're fragile, does it require bravery to do certain things in life? Do you have to say, or does it just require caution and sensibility?
That's a good question. As a child, I was crazy. I would do
I
things.
could see that.
I would do things, and my mother would be like, "You did what?" You know, I loved to horseback ride, and I think now what could have happened, it's amazing nothing ever did.
You horseback, really?
I loved to go horseback riding.
Did you ride bikes? And
Not too much. I got a bike when I was 10, and I ran it into a tree, and it broke my arm, and that was it. The bike disappeared.
just amazingly, that bike went away.
I think about it now, and I'm like, whatever happened to that bike? Oh. My dad was very, you know, because he had been through it himself.
Right.
And so he was very cautious. And it's amazing I talked him into it in the first place. But I was his little princess, and he would pretty much do anything I wanted.
You were the Nordic.
Yeah. So he did get me a bike, but it proved to be my downfall. So
Yeah.
it disappeared.
Yeah. What about your daughters?
Out of my 3 daughters, 2 of them have it. And they've had their share of, that's one of my stories for later.
Okay.
And then out of my 11 grandchildren, 5 of them have it.
That's almost half.
That's 50-50.
Yeah, there you go.
There's those odds.
Every time.
Right, right. Well, I admire the fact that you've always done what you do and that
Well,
you don't
yeah,
let it,
Yeah.
stop you.
I think I have no, scientific proof of this, but I think it does give us something else internally that just, because all the people I've gone to many OI conferences, we call it OI, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Osteogenesis imperfecta just takes too long. So we call it OI.
Unless you break it down.
So OI conferences, in and around, I part of a study at UCLA, a longitudinal study for OI. And so there's lots of conferences and things where we get together and meet people. And there are some people in Hollywood that have it, that are, and in those, I have not met anyone who was like, oh, I'm so sad I have this disease, it's terrible,
Right.
They just aren't. Everybody there is like upbeat and they're gonna go forward no matter what. It just seems to come with the disease. And my kids are the same way. I mean, I see my grandkids that are breakable, and they're just like so fun.
Some kind of a strength or just a...
One of
I'm
my
not gonna let this
grandsons
stop me, huh?
just broke his femur, and he was in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, and we have a group Wordle. My family and I, we all play Wordle. And one person.
What is Wordle?
It's a game. It's a word game online.
I lived under a rock.
You've lived under a rock.
The guys are laughing at me.
Look it up. There's another one you have to look up. Anyway, it's you have to figure out a word in 5-6 spaces, and it's a 5-letter word, and you anyway. One person picks the word of the day that we're going to use to try to figure out the word. So we're all using the same word in the family. So I get to play with my family in North Carolina, my family in Texas,
That's cool.
It
Yeah.
is very cool. I love keeping in touch with them that way. Anyway, so that day I was doing my Wordle and his Wordle popped up, his answer. And I went, he's in the ambulance right now. I said, you did your Wordle? And he texted back, I had nothing else to do.
I guess you wouldn't when you're riding along in an ambulance.
So I think a sense of humor is huge.
How common is it?
It's the numbers change, but it's anywhere from 1 in 100,000 to 1 in 25,000. It's somewhere in there.
That's quite a range, though.
It changes, I think, because more people are surviving because things have been,
Right.
So in the old days it was, and it hasn't been officially recognized that long, maybe 100 years.
That's all.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Before that, people had it and just people thought they were clumsy.
And they could have been, but
They could have been. But
that wasn't the reason.
that wasn't.
Yeah, right. Great. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about
I can't.
that you'd like to cover?
I can't imagine. I'm hopefully doing another play soon. Everybody has to come see it.
That's what I was going for.
I hope it works out. We're getting there. We're putting all our ducks in a row right now.
Yeah, what is it?
It's called Recommended Reading for Girls, which we think is a terrible title. We're going to send the author a note and say, please change the title, because everybody
You can
goes,
ask, right?
what is that? So this is not for people, it's just for young girls, right?
Oh,
No,
right, yeah.
no. It's a very sweet story about a family, 3 women, and they encounter the little princess, Heidi, Anne of Green Gables, and Penny Parker, who is a latter-day Nancy Drew.
So stories that most of us have read.
Right. And
At least girls have read.
they just appear, and their appearance seems to come at a time when they all need it, and they talk, and and if you think about going into it, all the characters that I just named don't have a mother.
Oh, right.
And the mother is fighting cancer in the story.
Okay.
And the daughters are dealing with that and how to, you know. So it's all intertwined with, it's a hopeful story. It sounds like a downer, but it's a hopeful story.
How did you find it?
And my daughter did it in Texas.
Oh.
She played the mother, and I went to see her in it, and I thought, she has her group has a theater, and the stage is almost exactly the same size as this. So I thought, we could do that at ELATE. It's very, you know, it's family, okay family, and the size is perfect. So I presented it to the ELATE board, and they approved it.
Wonderful.
So we're in the beginning stages of it, but hopefully we'll be able to. I like it.
So is it a book and a script, or a script and a book, or?
It's just a script.
Just a script.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm encouraging people to read the books. Any of the, you know, Heidi is a book by itself. Anne of Green Gables, is, of course, is a series, and you know, Penny Parker is a series. But you can get them all at the library.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's really fun to read them. My daughter encouraged me to read them before I came, and I did, and it was so much more fun because there are many references that you go, oh, she said that in the book, you know,
Right.
And I love stuff like that. That's just me, but
It's kind of like when you read a book and then see the movie, right?
right. And you're like, oh yeah, that was in the book. That was good. That was good. Yeah, I really like things like that.
Right.
And I love literature and I love reading, so that's a big deal for me.
Yeah. So it's a few months out from
Ready
Yes,
to go
hopefully May.
of 2024. I have to think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right, right. Well, I hope everything goes well and it comes together and you get the right cast
Yeah.
to do it the way it should be done. I'm sure you will. You know.
It's pretty nebulous because the characters can be any age,
Right.
really. You know,
Right. Yeah.
they're figments anyway. We're back to figments.
That's funny. I remember reading those books. Of course, my mother had me read them when I was a little girl, but it's been so long I'd have to reread them.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're saying.
Oh yeah, and it's surprising to me too, especially like Anne of Green Gables. I don't know that I ever read. I used to watch the series, but there's some really interesting themes in there.
Are there really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's true that in YA, young adult books, oftentimes there are incredible grown-up, I'll put it that way, messages.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
that sometimes the young girls don't catch because
They don't catch them till later
Yeah.
in their life. They'll be thinking about something. And what would Nancy Drew do?
What would Nancy Drew do? Great.
I don't know. I just made that.
You should put that on the promotional materials.
You're right. That would be a better title.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So now, is there anything else that you want to talk about that we haven't covered?
I can't think
We've
of
covered a
anything.
lot of ground.
We have.
Yeah, it's great.
I've
It's
been
great.
happily married for 42 years.
Oh, congratulations. That's an accomplishment.
It is an accomplishment, especially when you're married to a big old bear.
And your husband he's directed so many plays.
Yeah,
here
a
at
lot of
ELATE.
them here. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's worked at Cal Lutheran University,
Oh, okay. That's
With the Shakespeare
California Lutheran
University.
in Thousand Oaks,
Yeah.
California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a educator there, so
Yeah.
he has a drama program. Has to do with curriculum, teaching. It's active learning. It's called ACT, active collaborative teaching, and it's basically comes from his theater background, and it's getting people up off their feet to do things. And you learn math that way. You can learn so many things with engaging the brain and the body and the whole thing.
So he's done that here at ELATE with giving people opportunities.
Right, but he's actually it was his doctoral thesis, and he's
Oh.
actually put the program in several schools in Simi Valley.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
pretty proud of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And we are going to be so fortunate because Marty is going to perform for us. And not only is she going to perform one thing, she's going to do 2 performances. She's going to do...
We'll see.
Yeah, actually, we'll introduce us. So check back on Creativity Inside and Out, and you'll see Marty perform. See you soon.